This for me is like a summary of what is innovation all about. Yesterday I also spoke a little bit about it. I think we have to challenge ourselves and we have to be able to start walking when others or the system sort of triggers you to stop. But we have to be bold, we have to be brave, we have to start walking. And we have to do this. So this is the inspiration I got from you, Lilita, and thank you for this. I prepared a sort of similar presentation as yesterday. So for the people who were there yesterday, please bear with me with the slides that are similar. But I try to take a different take on what I'm saying, because I will look more at the entrepreneurial side of things. So like I said yesterday, I work for the Economic Board of Utrecht. This is a triple helix organization. After the Norwegian presentation, I must say I feel a bit ashamed that we're not in a quintuple helix organization. But I guess it still does what we need to do. We need to cooperate. Governments need to cooperate with companies. And we also need the knowledge institutions to work with us, and this makes us stronger. So this is the basis of a triple helix organization. And I do think this is important to be closer to market opportunities and to work together. So this is definitely a recommendation to you. Like I said, we focus on societal challenges, and we have a lot of emphasis on the transition to a circular economy and towards a more sustainable energy system, which is not based on fossil fuels but on renewable fuels. And I like to dive into this and what we're doing regarding this transition. So I skipped this. It's just a summary of what I said just now. And I like to actually start with this picture. I mean, there is a big urgency. It was already said in the presentation before. We need to act. We need to do something. And I like to. Do I need to point it there or? Again. So please see what's happening. First have a look. I will tell you afterwards, but you can see the graphics are really obvious. You can see, well, many of you will be born right now. And actually, every time I see it, I get the shivers because it's so graphical. What you just saw is a run from 1900 till now for the temperature changes for each country. So what you saw when it started, there was still blue, like 1 year it was warmer, 1 year it was normal, 1 year it was more warm. But now, going towards the end, you see that all the countries, all the temperatures, they are almost always, each year, they are much above average. And this is really alarming. And this means that we should do something in order to keep our world a sustainable place and a happy place for us to live and for our children. So this is actually the why we need to act now and why we need to start walking when Lilita says stop. But it's much more than just an alarming thing that is happening. When you're an entrepreneur, it also provides a big opportunity. Because, well, let me start with a small example. 10 years ago in the Netherlands, we were growing wheat, not the wheat you might think of, but the other kind of wheat. And at this stage, we are also seeing farmers switching towards wine. This used to be a thing of the southern countries, but now we are growing it, and we are producing more than 1 million liters. So this is the effect of climate change, and it also brings about new opportunities regarding food growing and such. But it's much more. So there was a big research conducted about what could be the advantages for entrepreneurs and how they can use the big changes that we need to address in our society. So when you have a look at, for instance, the upper one, you see that around 82% of entrepreneurs think that by addressing eco-innovation, switching towards circular economy and so forth, they have a bigger increased potential for long-term value creation. So 82%, this is a worldwide conducted interview, and it says a lot. It says that when you're not investing in eco-innovation or something like it, you will probably fall out of the race. Well, anyways, the second one. Of course, being an entrepreneur, you need to make money. But many people, they first, maybe 5 years ago, they were still convinced that it was costing money to invest in eco-innovation or switching towards the circular economy. But now we see that there's a big market potential, and actually there's economical viability in doing these investments, and they will get paid back, because otherwise you won't have a market, otherwise you won't be out there in the future. So to summarize, many entrepreneurs in this world see that at this stage it's not a question of wanting or willing to invest, but they need to invest. Well, the good news is that there's money out there to do the investment. I mean, without money you couldn't do the investment, but there is a lot of money out there. This is just a small diagram to show what is happening, and we see that there's billions more money to be invested in these eco-innovations. And actually, looking at my own experience in the Netherlands, I know that there's many pension funds and institutional investors, banks and so forth. They are looking for investment opportunities at this stage. They are not wanting to invest their money in an initiative of 1 million euros. They are looking for investments of maybe a couple of billion euros. So the big question is, how are you as entrepreneurs able to address these funds, and how will you be able to come up with a scalable model that that is interesting for those investors? Because money is out there, and you as entrepreneurs need to be able to address this. And actually this is also another slide highlighting or expressing what is called stranded assets. I'm not sure, has anybody heard about stranded assets before? Nobody? Okay. Well, stranded assets is like when you have a portfolio approach, when you look at a portfolio of, for instance, a company, you see that there's a lot of money invested. And when you look at future and you see what you need to comply with, for instance, then it can be that the money you invested is no longer worth what you thought it would be worth. So for instance, if you have a house which is not energy efficient, the price today is still okay, but if you look at the future, the price will probably be much lower. Because of energy requirements and high energy prices. So what happens is that the money you invested now will become actually stranded as an asset in the future. So there's always this point in time where it's better to start investing in those energy efficiency measures, because otherwise you are actually building up a portfolio with stranded assets. So this is also a big development, and when you look at what's happening on a worldwide level, many banks are actually reconsidering their portfolio. They're saying, well, how many stranded assets do we have, and what do we need to do to get rid of it? So they're not even thinking, how they can, if they are willing to invest in, like, say, old school economy things, they won't. Actually, they want to get rid of their old school things. So, again, another driver to start changing and to come up with a different business model. This is what I said yesterday as well. I mean, incremental change is good, and we need to always challenge ourselves to come up with incremental change. But actually, we need to go a step further. We need to have systemic change. We need to change the complete system, start walking when everybody says stop. This is the big change we need, and we need many stakeholders involved to come along with the change. So this is what I explained yesterday. I like to keep it short for now. But I know that the home renovation industry in Latvia is pretty big and well developed. So I'm just interested, are there any companies that are related to this sector? Is any company related to building homes present? No. Because what I wanted to say is that there is, for instance, funding available at Climate Kick. Has anybody heard about Climate Kick? An international, and I saw another hand, right? Yeah. So Climate Kick is one of the biggest European funding initiatives that helps entrepreneurs to establish eco-innovation, and they provide funds and they do many things, and it's really interesting. For now, for instance, they have a fund where you can get 1 million euros as an entrepreneur if you are able to develop a scalable model for retrofitting homes. But they're doing much more. So it's also important that you as an entrepreneur are connected to these possibilities. To give you another example, Elena, which is from the European Investment Bank, it sounds already maybe complicated when you say the word European Investment Bank, but actually it's not complicated at all. It's a simple subsidy, and you're able to get it. I did it just now, and it only took me about 2 to 3 months to come up with the application. But it's worth 3 million euros, and it's for process support towards SMEs that want to do a retrofit. So my message to you is also be smart and know what's out there. And when you think that there might be an instrument which is internationally available at the European Union or so, don't get scared. If you think it's a possibility, start investigating. Try to get somebody like Ilona to look with you, or maybe even contact me or whatever, and try to go to the next step. I mean, you'll be surprised. It's easier than it looks. This picture I showed as well yesterday. It's all about sharing. Car sharing systems, but we also have like the big e-bike revolution now in the Netherlands. We are talking about highways for e-bikes because we believe that e-biking and all the other last mile solutions are vital to keep our economy strong, because we want to transport ourselves quickly. And when we're in a traffic jam, this is lost money, and this is not good for economy. So we need to have an effective transport system, and we need to have an effective last mile solution. And this is all happening, and because we need it, we are supporting it. So this is an easy relation. This is another nice company I really like. It's called I Did, and it's basically recycling of clothing. Clothing industry is one of the most polluting industries in the world. About 40% of clothes is being burned at this stage. Never worn, never sold. People didn't even see it, and then it gets burned, which is crazy. So when you turn it around when something crazy becomes an opportunity is when an entrepreneur says, well, hey, I don't want you to burn these clothes. I want you to give those clothes to me, and actually I'm going to pay you something. And I'm going to make a new product out of it. And I'm going to be successful doing this. And this is actually what the guy from did. And he's now being successful, and he is making new clothing, and he's also making isolation panels, and he's doing great stuff. And everybody likes it, and now he's talking to IKEA and so forth and so forth. But the same thing is happening here in Latvia. Your clothes are also being burned, which are not sold. So actually this is a big opportunity for entrepreneurs, and I think it's time for people to start diving into it, and that the public sector or the triple helix sector is supporting those initiatives. Yeah, just another example that I took out from your app warning. In the Netherlands, there's now a new entrepreneur who is developing an app that is related to waking up, because as you know, we are a biking country, and we like to bike to our work when possible, but when it rains, we don't like to bike to our work. So now there is actually an app that is connected to the weather forecast system. So when it says it's going to rain in near future, the alarm doesn't go until you need to wake up or until the rain stops. And then your alarm is being flexible in relationship to the weather, which is a great new service. And it's so easy. It's only connecting like the weather service with the alarm, and it's as easy as that, but people like it. And of course you need to find the revenue model when you're doing something like this, because how are you going to create money out of it? But this comes later. First you have the invention, then you start doing it, and then you get the revenue model later. So these are inspirational things. So yeah, I think I talked about this yesterday as well. I mean, it's crowded. In our country there are many support actors, and for an entrepreneur it's complicated to find the right one. But if you are convinced that there is something out there, I know that maybe in Latvia it's a bit different, the landscape or the ecosystem. But like I said, there are European funds. There are also European funds for innovative SMEs and so forth. There are possibilities out there. So don't be put off by whatever seems complicated, and start looking into it, dive into it, and start exploring what could be your support actor. So actually, like I said yesterday, we are in the constant process of rethinking the way we provide support to our entrepreneurs. Society is changing fast, and we need to change fast with it in order to be able to be effective towards those entrepreneurs. So, like I said, we are a triple helix organization, and how can we come up with a good instrument if we don't talk to our companies? We need to be able to know we need to know their obstacles. What do they encounter? Why don't they get their ideas funded? Why is it sometimes complicated? Why is there legislation which is not helping or maybe even obstructing the new innovations? So we are now in the process of talking to 1,000 entrepreneurs. And we are organizing tables and meetings, and we want to get their input. We need to know what is on their mind in order to make the next step, in order to create the right support instruments. So being close to what is happening in real society is key to be able to be efficient and to make those instruments that you need to have. This is what I said yesterday as well. So try to work together, keep close, understand what's happening in society, be open for the global changes, and make sure that you are addressing those problems and direct those instruments towards what you found and what you learned while speaking to the entrepreneurs. This is what I showed yesterday as well, and probably in the other conversation we spoke about it as well. It is hard to identify those winners of the future, but we need, I mean, I showed you the movie, we need to act upon climate change. It provides a lot of opportunities for many companies, but sometimes we still don't know what will be the winning solution. But it's clear that we need to direct all our efforts towards combating those effects of climate change and so forth. So, like I said, we need to be flexible. We need to be speeding up, but while speeding up, there's also the chance that you hit a tree or something like that. But let's not be too scared to make a small failure in this process. I mean, we need to reorganize our society, and this means that we need to challenge the status quo. We need to challenge what is out there now. And this also means that we are gonna hit those trees. We are gonna fail, and as all the entrepreneurs that are here, they know that not everything is going to be successful, but we need to proceed and pursue the right direction. When we hit a tree, get back on the track and just keep on going forward, and that's the thing we need to do. So actually this is my last slide, and most of the people that were there yesterday saw it as well. I really believe that we are able to do such a thing. Of course, we can't be as good as nature maybe, but we can at least try. So that's my message for you, and I'm really certain that in Latvia you have great opportunities to help this change and to bring the world a step further. Thanks.
I will return back to Latvian situation because we still talk about short-term wins and long-term wins. In the long term, we look at a few companies like Nokia, used to be a rubber toys company, or Lego, which started with wood toys for their kids. And I wonder if we have such examples in Latvia, and actually we do. Do you know who it is? It's a company from Valka which used and is still providing building construction materials. But they realized that actually they can use their construction material for a premium product for kids. When you will go outside in the and go upstairs to the exhibition, you will see igloo blocks, which is produced in Valka and Pepperer. They are now exporting to more than 30 countries. Perfect quality, perfect building blocks for kids. As a mother, I can really recommend them. But for the eco-innovation, why do we talk it so loudly? And 60% of innovations in one of the research was found to be eco-innovative. Because what they do, they provide you with less resources. And very often our businesses say, oh, we can't afford the eco-innovation because it's too expensive. But actually it saves you resources, it saves you money. And very often digital tools are very important in order for you to be really cost efficient. When we interviewed entrepreneurs in Vidzeme, we realized that many of them are buying ready technologies from West, but they are innovating in digital technologies. They have either in-house or board solutions, and that's where they can benefit the most. Actually, our region is very active. If you look at the microloans, the startup loans from Altum, Vidzeme is the third, and you can see in this graph it a bit better. So 14% of applications are coming from Vidzeme. It's next most active region after Riga and Riga district. Good. In terms of amounts, it's 13%. Again, it's good. That's for starting the business. But if you look at the innovation, wow, innovation vouchers Just one was used in Vidzeme. Now, yesterday, Aigars Rundis said they're using another one, so there will be 2 from our region. I hope that after today we will have much more applicants, because those first 5,000 euros are really free from the scientific institution side. Of course, you will have to invest your time, energy, putting together the contract. It's not free for entrepreneur, but it's a huge benefit for you to really start innovating. But on the Competence Center project, which is the major project for Latvian companies to innovate, we have just one company from Vidzeme, and it's Valpro. We are really lagging behind, and the question is why? And if we look at, this is a similar picture as you saw for Netherlands, support actors in Vidzeme region. I'm not sure that I have this, yeah, it works. So these are the only institutions which work at local level. Actually, on R&D side, only Vidzeme University and RTU, sorry, maybe it's not very well visible, are on this side. You can't expect having good results on competency centers if we have so small support system in the region. There has to be more, because innovation is also about networks between the people. And so what do we think we have to do? We have to have fewer support actors, but they have to be able to provide more services. We have to introduce those, what we're doing right now. We want to know you about innovation vouchers, about competence centers, so maybe more of the companies can work with these. But we also need to facilitate cooperation with scientific institutions. So today we have B2B meetings on the second floor, where our companies are meeting with scientists, and we are very happy that many companies have used this opportunity. We have organized 15 meetings, and we do believe that we have to continue to do so in the region, because our main economic strength is bioeconomy, but the institutions which provide knowledge about these technologies actually are not in the region. They are either in Zemgala region or they are in Riga. And we also have enabled now companies to apply and talk with me, also with my colleagues, about opportunities which are available in all sectors. Because we have very many institutions, each of them are working in different direction, and very often you don't know what is coming. So we would be able to help you as much as we can. But I wanted to tell you also a personal experience about short-term win. I have been working in business for more than 10 years, especially in sales, and I used to sell tablecloth. So it was year 2008, it was before the crisis, and I was calling my customers saying, well, do you need something? Yeah, I need tablecloth. I need nice white tablecloth, but I need them fast. I checked all what I could, and I said, okay, that's a quantity I can supply you in 5 weeks. And the customer returned to me saying, you know what? Your competitor is promising to deliver those in 4 weeks. Well, I know that actually they used to buy the stock from the same supplier as I do, and I just have checked with the warehouse, there is no product available, so it will take us another week to really get the product. But what I did nothing. I sustained my business because I know I can't deliver it faster, so I lost the tender. I called the customer 6 weeks later asking about how are your new tablecloths, and the customer was screaming on the other side. You know what? I still have not received anything. I won in the long term, but I had to survive those next 2 or 3 years until this customer needs my product. So sometimes it's very difficult to sustain the business, to be sustainable, to keep your promises, and it's very important that we do so. Because today, this company where I worked for is celebrating 15th anniversary, but the other company is long time ago, long out of the business. And if we want to talk about circular economy, which is an issue which is, it requires you to cooperate. And this means we need much more think about how are we going to trust, cooperate, and be honest to each other, because you won't be able to work in this type of economy alone. Innovation doesn't happen alone, and it takes trials, and it has a cost, but it also has a benefit, because then you will survive. Thank you.